Welcome back to the reading of A Good Kind of Trouble by Lisa Moore Ramey. Today we're going to be taking a look at pages 320 to 341. Chapter 63 is titled Rules. Chapter 64 is Go Down Big. Chapter 65 is Show Me. And chapter 66 is Fumbling and Stumbling. We left Shayla and Bernard in Mr. Levy's class, where Mr. Levy is again showing a lot of bias towards Bernard. He and Shayla are wearing the black armbands, and some kids in the class are trying to tell them to take the armbands off, and they refuse to. And Mr. Levy tells Bernard to, go sit down, and so Shayla encourages him to sit down. So that he doesn't get into trouble. And so now we're taking a look at a chapter called Rules, and it's really going to be about Principal Trask trying to get everyone to take the black armbands off, claiming that it's part of the school rules. I thought those were against the rules, Isabella says, nodding at my armband. She's not wearing hers. And I'm not mad about it, but I sort of wish she still had it on. That's what Principal Trask said, I say. I reach into her bag of Cheez-Its and take a couple. Isabella doesn't say anything for a second. She's probably wondering if body snatchers took the real Shayla away or something, because she knows how I feel about getting in trouble. But so far, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal at all that I decide to wear my armband. I'm almost a little disappointed. I don't know what I expected, not police dogs or anything, but when I saw it wasn't just me who decided to break the no armband rule today, I did have visions of all of us rule-breaking, armband-wearing students getting rounded up. But nothing happened. Isabel and I go our separate ways after break, and I think how weird it is that it's not all that weird for it to be just Isabella and me. In fourth period, right before lunch, Principal Trask comes back on the PA and reminds us about dress code violations. In fourth period, right before lunch, Miss Jacobs sighs and then looks at the Emerson quote about being on your own path, and then she gives me a teeny nod. I guess Emerson wasn't talking about armbands, but I think he was talking about doing something brave. My armband is staying on. When I sit down for lunch, I make myself not even look over at Julia, sitting with her other friends. If she doesn't miss me, I don't miss her. Isabel says maybe I should take my armband off, but I shake my head hard. Then I see Principal Trask heading over to the basketball courts. She's holding scissors. I get up right away and I follow her. And Isabella follows me. A bunch of other people leave the lunch area too, to see what's going on. Even though Principal Trask is holding those scissors out like a sword, I'm still shocked when she starts cutting off people's armbands. I don't get close enough to hear what everyone's saying, but I can tell that there are a lot of angry voices. Principal Trask doesn't look like she cares one bit that people are upset about her cutting off their armbands. She just keeps snipping. I put my hand over my armband as if she's about to cut mine off too, but I'm too far away for her to even notice. That's so messed up, Isabella whispers. I'm not sure what to do, because I want to go over there and show I'm a part of the armband-wearing group, but if I do, it will mean my armband will get cut off. Come on, I say to Isabella, let's go back. When we return to our table, Julia catches my gaze, and her eyes are full of concern, just like mine. For the rest of lunch, I wait for Principal Trask to come over to the overhang lunch area and cut off armbands from everyone who's still wearing them. But she doesn't. It sort of makes me feel sick that she only went over to the basketball courts, like she thinks black students are the problem. After school, I'm kicking pine cones while I'm waiting for Mama to pick me up. I'm kicking them really hard. I wanted just once to get into trouble. But then I didn't. I probably should have gone over to the basketball courts. I wish I had been braver. Then Principal Trask walks right by me, and she backs up, like maybe she can't believe her eyes. Young lady, she says, I'm sure you heard my announcements about the dress code. I look down at what I'm wearing like I have no clue what she's talking about. My palms are itching, but I can barely believe it. I'm obeying the dress code, I say, my voice wobbly. She blinks at me. She points to the armband that is against the dress code. I don't think, I start to say, but I'm not sure exactly what's going to follow those words, and it doesn't matter because Principal Trask cuts me off. What's your name? Shayla, I say. Shayla Willows. Aren't you on the track team? Yes. Well, Shayla, if you want to stay on the track team, make sure I don't see that tomorrow. And then she walks off. Mama pulls right up then, and when I get into the car, she asks me what Principal Trask wanted. Nothing, I say. Just making sure I had a ride. I didn't plan to lie to Mama. And let me tell you, lying is probably the worst thing you can do in my family. Talk about trouble. But I know I'm going to wear my armband tomorrow, and I can't tell Mama because she'll try to stop me before I have the opportunity to truly protest. Tomorrow I'm going to find out just what big trouble feels like. For real. Today I felt like I was a part of something and apart from it at the same time. So in the chapter Rules, we learn that Principal Trask is making a new rule. It's nowhere in the handbook that you can't wear a black armband to support Black Lives Matter, but she's making the rule up by herself and going out to the basketball courts and cutting off all the black kids' armbands. And Shayla's really, really not feeling good about herself right now because she's like, why didn't I go over and stand with them? Instead, she stood off to the back and then went back over to the overhang where she was taking her lunch with Isabella. And when she gets there, she thinks to herself, it sort of makes me sick that she only went over to the basketball courts. Like she thinks black students are the problem. That's on page 322. Shayla realizes and is seeing now firsthand Principal Trask's bias. There's plenty of kids under the overhang as well wearing the black armbands, but she doesn't go over there where there's predominantly white and Asian and Hispanic kids sitting eating lunch to snip off armbands. She just goes directly to the basketball court. She definitely has bias and racist attitudes in her mind, and it's very dangerous because she is the person that's in charge of the school. And now we're going to find out what Shayla decides to do about that in the chapter called Go Down Big. That's on page 325. In the morning, Hannah hands me a big bag. It's full of black armbands. If you're going to go down, she says, go down big. I swallow the sour apple lump lodged in my throat, and I rub my hands hard against my legs. It'll be super sad to be cut off the track team. But there isn't one thing about armbands in the school handbook. Principal Trask is wrong. I ask Mama if she will drop me off to school early so I can take care of a special project. I wait for her to ask what the project is, but she just looks at her watch and says, "Oh, sugar, that would actually help me out a lot." When she drops me off, she gives me a quick kiss on the cheek. See you after school. Maybe I should feel guiltier for not telling Mama what I'm up to, but I'm hoping that she'll understand. Since it's early, only a few kids stand around in front of the school. They'll be my first targets. "Black Lives Matter!" I shout to get their attention. And then I start handing out armbands. Except for one girl, they all take one. This is going to be great. A few minutes later, more students come, and I shove an armband into everyone's hand. I keep hollering, "Black Lives Matter." And some other people join in. I wish I had made signs. I wish I had my phone to video this. Isabella gets dropped off, and she giggles when she sees me. She holds out her hand for an armband like it's a party favor. "This is awesome, Shay. This is important, I say, giving her an armband. Julia and her whole squad stop by. They had stopped wearing their armbands yesterday, but today they get new ones. Stacy gives me a high five. "You know what I'm talking about, sister." I can't even be mad because I'm just happy that they all want to wear my armbands. Sometimes it's like the world is telling us that being black is the worst thing you can be. But right now, it feels like people are not only saying that Black Lives Matter, but that being black is the best. My smile is so big, it hurts. Julia smiles at me as she takes an armband. "Thanks, Shay." Angie asks for a handful just as the bell rings for first period. We all start heading inside. A bunch of Emerson students of all different races are shouting that Black Lives Matter. I don't care that not everyone took an armband. It just feels great to be united. "Shayla Willows," Principal Trask's voice booms like she has a microphone. "Give me that bag." I throw the bag to Angie, who runs up the path and through the silver front doors of our school. Man, that girl is fast. "What bag?" I ask Principal Trask. She tugs at my armband. "These are expressly forbidden." I hear a ripping sound, and then Principal Trask is standing there, holding my armband. I've never been so mad. "Give that back." Principal Trask bends down a little, so we're face to face. "I want you to go around and take back every armband you passed out. If you don't, I will see you in my office and your parents will be called. Being off the track team is just the beginning." Her breath smells like black licorice, which is maybe one of the nastiest smells ever. I take a step back and I feel a bad quivering in my bottom lip. My nose starts burning. I don't want Principal Trask to see me cry. "Did you hear me, Miss Willows?" "Yes." It is just one word, but it sounds a whole lot like defeat. Mama always told me and Hannah we have to act better than other kids because people expect less of us. Getting called to the principal's office is definitely not acting better. Principal Trask it's our right to protest. I expect my rules to be followed. Principal Trask is so sure I'm not going to argue, she marches off without waiting for me to say anything else. I don't know what to do. After Science, Bernard asks me if I want him to take off his armband so he won't get into trouble. And I almost say yes. Almost. No, I say. Do you think you can find me another one? I sure hope there is at least one left in that bag. I don't know what's going to happen and my palms itch, but I can't worry about that. Mr. Powell tells me to wait after class, and I am nervous all over again that he's going to tell me that this is what he warned me about, and I'd better stop messing up. Shayla, I just want to let you know I'm proud of you. It takes courage to stand up for what's right. He smiles at me. Then his smile slips. You know, there are times when people want me to feel bad about who I am, he says, and he sighs. But I am who I am. I'm not about to apologize for it. I wear bright scarves even though I know some people make fun of them. I wish I could argue with them, but it is true. Some people do make rude comments. Mr. Powell's smile returns, and he straightens up tall. But hey, I like them. It's a small thing, but I hope some students may realize it's okay to be different. It's not anyone's business what you wear, I say. Mr. Powell winks at me, and he says, I think you're absolutely right. Then he puts his hand out for a fist pump. Mr. Powell is so cool. Instead of going to our spot, Isabella and I just walk around at break. I see so many people wearing armbands. I get those busy butterflies in my stomach. Angie finds me and gives me back my bag. It is almost empty, but there are a few armbands left. I put one on right away, and Isabella helps me pass out the rest. I don't see Principal Trask, and I bet it's because she knows she's totally outnumbered. But she also knows I'm the one who passed out all those armbands. And I don't think she's going to forget about me. Yolanda flashes me a big upside-down Y smile in PE, and when Coach West makes me Rebels team captain for Star Wars tag, I pick Yolanda first for my team. In English, Miss Jacobs is just finishing writing a new quote on the board when I walk in. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise. Maya Angelou. Then she reads Maya Angelou's whole poem out loud. The poem is called Still I Rise. And even though Miss Jacobs is staring at me like she read the poem just for me, I don't shrink low in my seat. I straighten up, tall and proud. I smile at Miss Jacobs, and she gives me a small smile back. I'm going to print out a copy of Maya Angelou's poem when I get home and stick it right up on my wall. So this is a really great chapter. I love Shayla's reaction in this chapter. I love how her sister Hannah helps her and encourages her, gives her the bag of black armbands to pass out at school. She's really a leader in this moment. She decided yesterday that she didn't feel like she was being brave enough, and so today she is completely rallied, and now she's taking a stand. And her sister says to her, if you're going to go down, she says, go down big. And it's a risk. When you're brave and you do something brave, you do risk getting in trouble. And Shayla's about to find out what that's all about in the next chapter, called Show Me. We're on page 332. Lunch is wild. We march around the lunch area and around the track and by the basketball carts chanting Black Lives Matter. And it feels awesome. And it feels awesome. I'm not sure why so many people wear my armbands. Maybe it's just the excitement of breaking the rules. Or maybe it's because a lot of us know we won't have any chance to shout out loud that we matter. Coach West claps for us when we're marching and waves at me. And that's when I see that she's wearing an armband too. I'm just going to turn my phone off here. I don't want it to ring again. There. And then someone taps me on the shoulder. Come with me, young lady. A very angry voice says right in my ear. We're on the top of page 333. Principal Trask's mouth is so firm and sharp, we could use it in shop as a saw. I follow her to the office, and before we go into the building, I hear someone shout, "Free Shayla!" That makes me smile. I bet I stop smiling when Principal Trask tells me, she's called Mama, though. She'll be here in a few minutes, Principal Trask says, and she points to a chair right outside her office. Sit here and wait, please. I sit. I am in so much trouble. I didn't know how much I loved being on the track team until now, and I threw it away. Worse, I let Mama and Daddy down. They told me and Hannah over and over again how important it is that we stay out of trouble at school. My hand travels to my armband, and even though part of me feels like someone punched me in the stomach, a tiny bit of that proud feeling that I had a few minutes ago tingles in my hands. Still, my eyes are brimming with tears. When Mama walks in and I see the big frown on her face, I stand up on trembling legs and I follow her into Principal Trask's office. But unbelievable, Mama's frown isn't for me. I want you to show me right now where in the dress code it says anything about armbands, she tells Principal Trask, slapping the Ralph Waldo Emerson Junior High Handbook hard on the desk. I wipe my tears away. That's hardly the point, Principal Trask says. That's absolutely the point, Mama says. You told me my daughter was breaking the dress code. Show me that in this here book. Go ahead, show me. Mama's voice is really loud. I know Principal Trask would never believe how sweet Mama can be and how much she hates to use her angry voice. We can't have children disrespecting, excuse me? Disrespecting whom? Because as far as I can see, they are showing a huge amount of respect for those victims that have lost their lives. Don't you think that's important? I want to cheer for Mama, but I stay quiet. The armbands have become a distraction, Principal Trask says. I can't keep quiet anymore. But Principal Trask, that's the point. I stop rubbing my hands on my pants to make people take notice. It could change things. Principal Trask stares out the window for a moment. Then she looks at me. She looks at Mama. If we can agree that the bands shouldn't be worn during school hours, no, ma'am, Mama says. We cannot agree on that. There isn't one thing wrong with these students showing that they understand the value of life. That's just what this school should be teaching. Have you ever read any of Ralph Waldo Emerson's works? I didn't realize that Principal Trask could get that pale. I think this maybe just got a little out of hand. She rearranges the files on her desk, lining them up perfectly. Mama nods, and then she does something I sure don't like. She turns to me and says, "Now, Shayla, I want you to apologize to your principal for not bringing this issue to her in the correct way." Mama can't possibly want me to say I'm sorry. But I can tell by her frown that that's exactly what she wants. And I remember something Daddy told me. Don't ever leave your enemies empty-handed. Give them a bone to gnaw on or they will keep trying to bite you. I'm sorry, I mumble. I just know Mama is going to make me repeat it louder. But instead she nods, satisfied. Principal Trask looks like she has too many olives in her mouth and has no idea what to do with the pits. Finally, she says to Mama, I do appreciate you coming in. Mama signs me out of school for the rest of the day, and I wait all the way until we reach the car before I raise my hands above my head like I'm a champion. Yes, I shout. We did it. I can hardly believe I get to keep wearing my armband and stay on the track team. Mama laughs at me, and then we go get ice cream. Proud of you, baby, she says as we find seats outside. You did good. I look down at my ice cream, and I feel the I know look I wanted to steal over my face. I bet getting good about yourself for being brave feels tons better than something silly like having a boyfriend. I'm going to read that again. I bet feeling good about yourself for being brave feels tons better than something silly like having a boyfriend. The first thing I do is post a selfie of me wearing my armband. Oh, when we get home, Mama gives me my phone back. The first thing I do is post a selfie of me wearing my armband. Julia sends me a picture of her, me, and Isabella on our last day of elementary school. She only has 2 words in her text message. United Nations. As Mama would say, getting that message has me all up in my feelings. I never knew walking right into trouble would make me feel strong. Maybe it has to be the right type of trouble. All right. So that chapter is pretty amazing. We've got Shayla's mom coming in and defending her actions and actually bringing the handbook in with her as evidence that what Principal Trask is asking the children to do is actually not in the rule book. So Principal Trask has nothing to do but admit that Shayla's got to have to wear the armband if she wants to, and then she can't kick her off the track team for doing that. So the quote that I pulled from that is, we cannot agree on that. What Principal Trask was trying to do is to get a concession out of them to not wear the armbands. And Mama says, yeah, no, that's not what's going to happen here, Principal Trask. There isn't one thing wrong with these students showing that they understand the value of life. That was on page 355. I'm going to have to check. All right, 335, I think. All right. So the last chapter for this video is Fumbling and Stumbling, and we're changing the setting. We're going on to the track team. She's still on the track team, and she's at a meet. And fumbling and stumbling is when you're tripping and falling. Let's see if that happens to Shayla, but I'll give you a hint. It's going to be a good track meet for Shayla. So today is our last track meet, and I'm a little nervous. It's not about wearing my armband because after Mama's visit, Principal Trask hasn't said one word on the PA about dress code violations. And it's not the whole face plant on the track thing. I've actually been jumping the hurdles okay at our meets, and I have established a good rhythm. I still clip a hurdle sometimes, but I haven't fallen again, at least not at a meet. I'm steady coming out of the blocks now, too. So it's all starting to come together. Figures I'd start getting good with hurdles right when the season is about to be over. Mama and Daddy are sitting right there in the stands ready to watch me run after promising they'd stay away. But that's not what's making me so anxious either. It must be who we're facing today because our whole team is busting with nervous energy. Everyone is hyped. We're racing against John Wayne Junior High. They're our main competition. If we beat John Wayne, we'll end the season first in our district. Runners for the 200 are called to the track, and I stopped doing my high kick warm-ups to watch. Carmetta passes by me on her way up to the lineup. I give her a high five. I know how fast she is. I figure she's going to win easy. The gun pops off, and the girls take off. Carmetta stumbles, but catches herself and keeps running. After the first 50 meters, I can tell that something is wrong with her. She is in last place. I start whispering, "Come on, Carmetta, come on." But she runs even slower. By the time she gets to the finish line, she's limping and crying. There's a hush on the side of the bleachers as everyone watches Coach West go over to her. Coach West talks to Carmetta for a minute, feels her leg and her ankle. I hold my breath because I know Coach West has a way of fixing things. I'm sure she'll blow that whistle of hers and Carmetta will pop up and do fist pumps, but that doesn't happen. Coach West has to help Carmetta up. Then Carmetta uses Coach West as a crutch and she hobbles over to the sidelines. They announce it's time for the hurdles. I'm so caught up in thinking about Carmetta, I forget to be worried and I just run my race. Wait, I do not just run my race, I run my best race ever. I probably have my best start, getting out of the blocks fast and clean, and I don't clip a single hurdle. I don't beat Angie, but I hold on to second place, which for me is completely awesome. After the race, Coach West comes over to talk to me. You did great out there, Shayla, she starts. I figure she wants to tell me how proud she is of me, but she wants to talk to me about Carmetta. Coach West says Carmetta has sprained her ankle really bad, which means she isn't going to be able to compete in the girls' relay, which means someone is going to have to take her spot. Oh, my palms start to itch. So, Shayla, do you think you could help us out? Coach West asks like it's no big deal, like I can say yes or no and it'll be fine either way. But if I say no, it means we have to scratch the race. How can I say no? But if I say yes, it means I have to survive receiving and handing off the baton. And I'll also have to run 100 meters really, really fast. Maybe I should have let Principal Trask kick me off the track team. As she's reading my mind, Coach West says, we'll have you run the second leg. Angie's going to take anchor, and Maya will stay in third. She pauses. Natalie will lead off. I wonder if she's thinking about all the times Natalie dropped the baton at practice. But Natalie is fast, almost as fast as Angie, who usually runs the lead leg because she always gives our team a good head start. I hope Natalie can do the same. Coach West looks at me encouragingly. This is why I make all you girls practice passing the baton, she says. I hate those practices. All the fumbling and stumbling and batons slipping and dropping to the ground. Did Coach West remember how much I struggle with that stupid aluminum tube? Track batons are slippery, especially if your palms are itchy when you're trying to grab one. But either she doesn't remember or she's just desperate because she says, Shayla, you can do it. You're great with your events. And I always tell you you're faster than you realize. Well, my head says no, but for some reason, my mouth says, okay. So in this chapter, we're at the track meet, and Carmetta, one of the girls on the relay team, has a really bad 200. She twists her ankle in the first 50 meters of the 200-meter race, and she ends up coming in last place when normally she comes in first place. And she's sort of the lead person on the track team for the relay race. And now she can't run it. So Coach West comes over to Shayla to see if she'll step up, to the challenge. And this happens a lot in life. Somebody wants you to do something and you feel really anxious, but you decide to do it. You decide to go for it. And that's really good. So this is another example of Shayla being brave. And the quote I pulled out is actually the last line of the chapter. It's, "My head says no, but for some reason my mouth says okay." And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed these 4 chapters. I have to actually admit that during the chapter when she goes into the English class and they read Maya Angelou's poem, I got a little bit teary-eyed. I just love that poem. I think I'll have to include the whole poem for our poetry unit that we're going to be moving into. And we can also investigate some more of Maya Angelou's poems. What a great choice for the author Lisa Moore Ramey to include such a great stanza from such an amazing poem. All right, that's it for this video.